Okay, we're now going to cast in a base rail to the rear of this property. I don't need to put any shuttering down. This is going to be cast between these two sets of block pavers. So again, made sure that the base rail with said holes will fit in before we start to mix, which it will fit in there nicely. Also look to where you're going to position this base rail. You do need to get concrete all the way around this base rail, so don't put it tight up to either side of block paving, but also make sure that you've got space to put your side rail. That's about it on this one. Tools are out here ready. I'll go and mix some more mortar and drop this one in. So making sure you put the right rail on the right side. Where are you going to deploy this barrier and how are you going to deploy it, and which side of the wall you're trying to protect? So the weight of the water is coming from the garden onto the patio here. So we need to make sure that the seal is using positive hydrostatic pressure. The weight of the water will help push the barrier onto the seal at the back. If we did it on the other side, it's trying to push the barrier away from the seal. So just remember which side you're doing, left hand, right hand, and where the water is facing. In this install, because this wall is going to be rendered, we recommended that the client had a packer behind it. The render, being 15mm thick, would have been too close to the side to be able to tighten the barrier into position. So when we install this, this will have a packer bringing it in off the reveal block work, making it able, the client to be able to tighten this in when they come to deploy the barrier. Okay, we've cut the neoprene gasket for the bottom already. Again, dry fixed at the moment. Just place it down. Make sure it's central to the base rail, and then I will then plumb it up like so. I can then mark the wall so I know where it's going to. This one is being rendered, so you're not going to see that pencil line. Knowing that the central rail, the main, will fit plumb because the screw holes are already to line through. So while that's in position, I can pilot these holes into the masonry. So they're piloted through. Remove the gasket. I normally use a bit of packaging underneath just to collect the dust. Before I drill it with the main drill bit. Holes drilled, raw plugs ready to go in. I quite like using these made by Fisher. They seem to grab hold a little bit more, so we'll knock those into place. Make sure you've cleaned all the debris off as well prior to putting those in and sealing everything in. I tap those through from there. You can use any raw plug really, but they're the ones I prefer. Screws, right. Generally, when fitting a single side rail, I would use a 50mm screw. But because we have the packer as well, I'm now going to increase that size up to a 70 or 80mm screw so that I know it's going to get hold and into the appropriate raw plug. Okay, I'm going to apply some of the silicone now. I always apply it to the wall and to the back of the side rail, and obviously with this one the compression post at the packing rail as well. So I always apply, and the silicone that we like to use is a CT1. It's a tribrid mastic, sort of seems to do a little bit of everything. Right, apply that to there, and then I'll show you in a moment putting the actual side rail and packer on. applying the CT1 mastic to the back of the first packing. Make sure it's all the way down. I can put a little bit on the bottom from there. That fits on there. Now again onto the back of the rail. Doesn't need a lot because it's aluminium to aluminium, and we'll go down the sides of it as well when we've finished to make sure it's all beaded up well. So we can line those screws straight through and into the plug. I like to, if I can, just tap it a little bit. Now we plumbed it up left to right, front and backwards. We also need to make sure it's plumb in that elevation as well. I'd say that's pretty good as it is. If it does need packing off, I always use plastic shims just to make sure that that's plumb all the way round. Just going to seal around the outside, although this one, because it's being rendered, I'm not going to do a huge amount, but just enough to seal around the edge. Both inside and out is always good practice. Obviously you don't need to do where the gasket is. Making sure we know there's mastic behind it. We know the neoprene gasket has got it underneath. We just do the along the side there. I'm sure there's a tool for this, but side rails in, ready for deployment. Before we do that, and in your toolkit or toolbox, it's always good to get a can of silicone lubricant. Don't use the bog standard oil, I might as well name it the WD-40. WD-40 do a silicone spray. The silicone one is the one you want. It won't rot or degrade the rubbers. So when I've done that, before I deploy anything, I always spray the seal. Just a quick spray of lubricant from there. It's good for maintenance, and it helps to get the barrier in place. Installation is now complete. Base rail all concreted in, side rails with appropriate mastic and fixings into the blockwork. You may need to cut the barrier down. If you've done it, sometimes it comes slightly over length. You can either do this with a circular saw, Hilti do one, but only for aluminium. Other than that, you can use a mini grinder with an ultra thin disc. Don't forget to get a file and sand it so there's no raw edges. So just to test that this one fits in, again, locate it and lower it down gently into the right place. That fits nicely. Top compression bolts go in one either side. It doesn't matter which way round they go. There's not a left and there's not a right. They just push in there like that. Supplied with the product is one Allen key. One size fits all. That does everything. There is a video later to show everybody how to deploy your barriers, but it's very simple. Finger tight first, push it down, and then the front, and then tighten it up with the Allen key.